Honorable Governor Sri Arif Mohammad Khan, Sri Justice Babu Mati P. Joseph, Sri Justice Harun al-Rashid, Sri T.A. Shaji, Special Attorney, Sri S.S. Balu, President, Trivandrum Bar Association, Sri Cherunur P. Shashiran Nair, President, Kerala Lokayuktha Advocates Forum, distinguished guests, law officers, lawyers, officers and staff of the Kerala Lokayuktha, my warm and hearty greetings to each one of you on this happy occasion of celebrating Lokayuktha Day 2021. Lokayuktha Day is celebrated every year on 15 November to gratefully remember all those who have contributed to the establishment and growth of the Kerala Lokayuktha, and also to create better awareness among the public about its existence and functions. I fondly remember the former Lokayuktas and Upa-Lokayuktas, former law officers, lawyers, officers and staff, and I gratefully acknowledge and recognize their valuable services to this institution. I deem it my duty to respectfully remember former Lokayuktas, Sri Justice P.C. Balakrishna Menon, Sri Justice K. Sridharan, Sri Justice M.M. Paridipille, Sri Justice Payasi Kuriakos, and former Upa-Lokayuktas, Sri Justice T.B. Ramakrishnan, Sri Justice V. Bhaskaran Nambiar, Sri Justice K. A. Muhammad Shafi, Sri Justice N. Krishnan Nair, Sri Justice G. Shashidharan, Sri Justice K. K. Dineshan, Sri Justice K. P. Balachandran, and Sri Justice A. K. Bashir. I am happy that some of them are, rather most of them are present here. I salute all of them on this Lokayuktha Day 2021. Sir, for want of time, I am skipping some of the pages, that is why. We are privileged to have the head of our state as the chief guest today. It is to be mentioned that Honorable Arif Mohammad Khan is a qualified lawyer, eminent jurist, committed social activist, veteran author, and a hardcore secularist. He has served as member of the UP Legislative Assembly, member of Parliament, and Union Minister. He never hesitated to throw away membership of political parties and positions of power when it became an impediment for him to uphold and defend the principles he believed in. Sri Arif Mohammad Khan will celebrate his 70th birthday and Saptadi on 18th November 2021, only 3 days from now. Sir, we extend our warm and hearty greetings to you on the occasion of your Saptadi. May the Almighty bless you in abundance. The object of establishing an institution like the Kerala Lokayuktha can be achieved only with the active cooperation of the victims of corruption and maladministration, and the lawyers and other public-spirited persons who champion the cause of such victims. For this, sufficient awareness is required among the public about the existence of the institution, the nature of the reliefs which can be granted by the institution, and the manner in which the allegations or grievances can be raised before the institution. The public should also know that the remedy for their grievances through the Lokayuktha is the least expensive remedy available in this country. The lawyers appearing for the parties before the Lokayuktha should feel proud of the service they are rendering for dispensation of justice and protection of the victims of corruption and maladministration. The officers and staff working in the Lokayuta are playing a vital role for rendering justice to the society. It is to create awareness about these things among the public, the litigants, the lawyers, and the officers and staff of the Lokayuta that every year 15th November is celebrated as the Lokayuta Day. The Lokayuta in Kerala and the Lokpal at the national level are established and functioning under two different legislations, namely the Kerala Lokayuta Act 1999 and the Lokpal and Lokayuta Act 2013. They have different areas of jurisdiction and their jurisdictions do not overlap. One is not under the control of the other, and both are totally independent institutions. Lokpal is not an appellate forum above the Lokayuta, but both aim at and work for a corruption-free administration which provides good governance, upholding the rule of law, ensuring justice, and redressing grievances of the people. India is a democratic republic. Rule of law is the hallmark of a civilized society and a democratic nation. Rule of law implies supremacy of the law. It means that decisions are taken and implemented only in accordance with law and uninfluenced by considerations like political affiliation, religion, caste, community, place of residence, language, money, status, etc. Good governance is a right of a citizen, and it is an integral part of the rule of law. Maladministration and corruption are the antithesis of good governance and rule of law. Rule of law is a constitutional value and a constitutional goal. Any government worth its name is bound to uphold and protect the rule of law. Under Article 51A, capital A, of the Constitution of India, every citizen has a fundamental duty to abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals. Hence, it is the duty of each one of us to uphold and protect the rule of law. An ombudsman institution like Kerala Lokayuta is mandated to uphold the rule of law and to redress any injustice arising from maladministration, corruption, favoritism, nepotism, or lack of integrity of a public servant. There is a tendency among some people to overlook and condone corruption and maladministration in the name of efficiency and quick result. But efficiency without respecting human values and protecting human rights cannot be considered as good governance. Under Article 51, capital A, Clause J of the Constitution, it is a fundamental duty of the citizen to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity, so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievement. There is difference between efficiency and excellence. Mere efficiency is not excellence. Efficiency without upholding human values and without protecting human rights is not excellence. When efficiency is achieved, adhering to human values and protecting human rights, it is excellence. To provide good governance, public servants should strive for excellence and not for efficiency. There is criticism that the Lokayuta is only a recommendatory body and is a toothless tiger. As per the provisions of the Lokayuta Act, Lokayuta is basically a recommendatory body. At the same time, as my brother Justice Babu Matthew pointed out, a declaration made by the Lokayuta under Section 14 of the Act is binding on the governor, the government, and the chief minister, who are statutorily bound to accept it. I may also observe that the Lokayuta Act contains several provisions which enable and authorize the Lokayuta to be effective and productive. Often, the problem is not with the law, but with those who interpret and enforce the law. Hence, probably, an earnest and sincere introspection is required on the part of the judges of the Lokayukta. In my view, though the Lokayukta is a recommendatory body, the legislature never intended that the recommendations of the Lokayukta can be unilaterally and arbitrarily rejected or ignored by the authorities concerned. Unless a competent court of law stays or quashes the recommendation of the Lokayukta, the authority concerned cannot ignore or reject the recommendation. Such a healthy and positive attitude on the part of the government is required to achieve the objects of the Act. Similarly, Section 12(7) of the Lokayukta Act envisages that the special reports and the annual reports sent by the Lokayukta to the governor shall be laid before the Legislative Assembly. Justice Babu Matthew lamented that everybody knows what happens, it goes to the Assembly. But such a procedure is incorporated in the Act to give an opportunity to the legislators to scrutinize the response of the government to the recommendations of the Lokayukta and to make the government answerable to the legislature. Unfortunately, the legislators seem to be unaware or insensitive to their role in achieving the object of the Act. The legislature has a duty to undertake periodical review of the working of the institution, and if it is found from such review that the amendments are necessary to strengthen the institution and improve its utility, legislature should do it. I appeal to the government and the legislature to undertake such a review in consultation with all the stakeholders. It is to be pointed out that as clarified in Section 24(2) of the Lokayukta Act, the remedies provided under the Lokayukta Act are in addition to the provisions of any other enactments or any rule or law under which any remedy is available to a person making a complaint under the Act. Hence, the availability of other remedies is not an absolute bar for the Lokayukta to investigate a complaint. In the preamble of the Constitution, the people of India have declared their solemn resolution to secure to all its citizens justice. Justice, social, economic, and political. The Lokayukta is an instrument to carry out the said solemn resolution of the people of India. The father of our nation, Sri Mahatma Gandhi, has admitted that he was greatly inspired and influenced by the following passage in the Bible, Gospel of Matthew chapter 5. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for justice, they shall be satisfied. Blessed are those who are persecuted in the cause of justice, theirs is the kingdom of heaven. On this Lokayukta Day, let us resolve to make Lokayukta an effective instrument to secure justice to all citizens. With joy, we shall suffer the hunger and thirst for justice. We shall not be deterred by any kind of persecution in the cause of justice. Jai Hind.
Shri Justice Syriac Joseph, Lokayukt Kerala, Shri Justice Babu Matthew P. Joseph, Up Lokayukt, Shri Justice Harun Rashid, Up Lokayukt, Advocate T. A. Shaji, Special Attorney Kerala Lokayukt, Advocate S. S. Balu, President Tiruvendram Bar Association, Advocate Charun Niyur P. Shashidharan Nair, President Kerala Lokayukt Advocates Forum, Shri Siju Sheikh, Registrar Kerala Lokayukt, Shri Zakaria Matthew, Public Relations Officer Kerala Lokayukt, and very distinguished guests who are sitting before me, former Honorable Justices of the High Court and other eminent dignitaries, Priyapeta Sohirtukkale, my greetings to all of you and my gratitude to Justice Shri Syriac Joseph, Lok Ayukt, for the invite to inaugurate this celebration of Lok Ayukt Day. As we all know, the purpose of this annual event is to create public awareness about the services which are provided by this institution, which can be described as important pillar of our system of democratic accountability. Lok Ayukt, like ombudsman, means, in fact, that means people's representative. Lok Ayukt, if we literally translate it, means people's commissioner, or an independent official who can be approached by citizens in cases where they are aggrieved by executive action which lacks legal, and I must also add, in view of what Honorable Lok Ayukt has just said, mentioned about the moral and ethical values, that those who feel aggrieved by executive action which lacks legal and moral sanction. The Lok Ayukt functions in the interest of greater legal protection, acts as a watchdog, a warning mechanism, and a mediating body in relation to the authorities. The Lok Ayukt can be described as an independent and impartial office responsible both for maintaining and improving the quality of public administration and a check on maladministration. The office is located between citizens and the administrative authorities and intervening either in response to individual complaints or on its own initiative, the matters which the Ayukt takes suo moto. The Lok Ayukt is neither a partisan legal representative for the citizen nor a judicial officer. This office is envisaged to be an independent, impartial intermediary between citizen and executive, investigating complaints, situations of particular general concern, reaching conclusions of fact, and on the basis of those findings, seeking a solution or making recommendations for future improvements. The office of Lok Ayukta gives confidence to the general public that there is an impartial watchdog holding those charged with administrative authority to account and creating an environment that promotes principles of rule of law, justice, and fairness. The services of Lok Ayukt are of particular importance to the socially disadvantaged, as they are most adversely affected by the complexities of administration and often have difficulty in comprehending official decisions and articulating their grievances. Since Lok Ayukta is also a forum of alternative dispute resolution, it helps to avoid formal legal procedures and becomes an additional source of legal protection other than courts. Kerala Lok Ayukt has been discharging its duties very effectively ever since it came into existence on 15th November 1998 through the Kerala Lok Ayukta Act. Let me therefore place on record my deep appreciation for Justice Syriac Joseph, Up Lok Ayuktas Shri Justice Babu Matthew P. Joseph, and Shri Justice Harun Rashid, and of course, many of the former Lok Ayuktas and Up Lok Ayuktas who are sitting here in this hall for their committed and untiring work to ensure transparency and accountability in public administration. I gratefully acknowledge their contribution in improving administrative standards and practices in our state. We are aware how the system of ombudsman was instituted in European nations in the 19th century and how this system spread to other countries after the Second World War. In India, the concept of this authority was first mooted by the then Law Minister, Shri Ashok Sen. And I remember him very fondly because I had the opportunity, I was fortunate to have the opportunity of having been trained under him for few months, and I could not complete my training because I was elected to UP Assembly and was appointed a minister immediately. So I regret that because he was a great lawyer and great teacher. And the terms Lokpal and Lok Ayukt were coined by Dr. L.M. Singhvi, an eminent jurist and a parliamentarian. Maharashtra, as you know, Maharashtra was the first state to introduce Lok Ayukt, constituted for making inquiries into any action, including any omission or commission, in connection with such actions relatable to matters specified in list 2 or 3 of the Constitution. This unique institution has been playing a key role in promoting good governance in the last 2 decades. As an institution to ensure transparency, the Lok Ayukta is unique since it combines the characteristics of civil and criminal courts as well as the investigating agency. The combination of such varied features has given Lok Ayukt wide scope as well as flexibility in the fight against corruption and maladministration. Besides, Kerala Lok Ayukt had earned the confidence of people by virtue of faster action on the strength of having powers of a civil court while trying a suit under the Code of Civil Procedure and all proceedings being deemed to be judicial under Section 193 of IPC. The Lok Ayukt's powers to report its findings and recommendations to the competent authority and to determine the payment of compensation in cases have also been, they are its source of strength. In the last 2 decades, there have been many instances when observations and pronouncements of Kerala Lok Ayukt had sent strong signals to society on the need to ensure transparency and accountability in public life and governmental offices. There were instances of people in powerful positions stepping down on moral grounds after the Lok Ayog noted abuse of power or corruption. Sense of justice and an understanding of what is morally right and wrong are the essence of a democratic system. Accountability to the citizens is a fundamental principle of democratic governance. It may arise from legal requirements or may be determined by moral and ethical framework of a society or organization. Accountability also means an obligation to answer about or justify an action. It also involves provision for remedial measure, including punishment in case of deviation from norms. It is through accountability that a government wins people's confidence and improves its performance. India, which is the largest democracy in the world, has been a civilization governed by a strong concept of ethical conduct, which is called dharma, which ensures worldly prosperity as well as liberation from human condition. Yato abhyudya nishreshyasa siddhi sa dharma. Dharma is what ensures worldly prosperity as well as welfare after death. The Indian concept of a just society is to see divinity in humanity. And when one is trained, one accepts the idea and appreciates the divine potential of each being. One develops a chastity of mind and spirit which will never permit her or him to transgress into the sanctuary of the other. The laws are certainly important, and they must be upheld to hold the society together and protect the rule of law, but obedience of the unenforceable is even more important. For the growth of a civilized society, institutions like Lok Ayog play a crucial role in creating awareness for this purpose. We have so many examples from our traditional sources which show what is expected from a government or the concept of good governance. Like somewhere it has been said that government or the ruler is the best in whose reign people live without fear, just as the sons live in their house, in the house of their father without any fear and apprehension. In Kautilya's Arthashastra also, it has been said that a king who carries out his duties, rules according to law, metes out only just punishment, applies the law equally to his son and his enemy, not only he attains greater heights, but his fame is spread in all four corners of the earth. All these exhortations were made to ensure that each and every action of the powerful are not only in accordance with the provision and the spirit of the law, but they also conform to higher values of morality and ethics. Strict vigil and more empathetic consideration of human conditions are required to ensure that the laws we frame become truly useful. The object of establishing Kerala Lokayukt can be achieved only with active cooperation of the people who would come forward to raise their voice for just causes and for justice, as it was pointed out by Justice Syriac. And they will raise their voice against injustice as suggested in our fundamental duties. Greater awareness has to be created among people so that the victims of maladministration come forward for the redressal of their grievances, but they also conduct themselves in a manner that upholds the famous dictum, eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. We need to use all possible means to create sufficient awareness among the public about the existence of the institution, the nature of the relief it can grant, and the manner in which the allegations or grievances can be raised before the institution. And I think it is these considerations which are responsible for Justice Syriac Joseph to be, as it was mentioned earlier, that he was so keen on having these celebrations, because this is the medium through which awareness can be raised. I would also like to commend the lawyers who assist the Lokayukt by appearing for the parties for their contribution in strengthening the institution of Lokayukt. The staff, the officers of the commission, they also deserve to be appreciated for the hard work which they do behind the scenes for to make the commission more effective in delivery of justice. Let me conclude by saying that raising of awareness has to be a continued activity, and we may consider other avenues like roping in educational institutions, and there are many very active NGOs for this purpose. My best wishes to everyone involved in this great venture, and my greetings again to all the eminent personalities who are sitting in this hall, and the Lokayukt and the Up-Lokayuktas. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, valre nanni, Jai Hind.